Hi, I'm Marge Hunnicky Blaine. Welcome to the fifth mini reunion for Stanford's class of 1955. Hi, Mary Carol.
Well,
Hi,
hi, Marge.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I haven't seen you in ages.
No, I missed the last meeting.
It got coupled, so I'm glad
Yeah.
to see you're back. And you look
Thank you.
hugely well organized. All your dad's paintings are up, or no, photos?
Yeah, many of them are.
And is this your private domain, or is
It
this something the
Oh.
public can come into?
It is now. We're living here full time.
So,
Well, we had the business in Yosemite.
got it. The photography place?
Yes.
Oh, really? That's
Our
great.
son still runs it. This is the 121st year in business there in the same family. So there's 4 generations.
It used to be called Best's. Is it
Best
still?
too. My grandfather was Harry Best, and he's the one that started in 1902.
Is that was your mother's father?
Father, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, my father was an immigrant, but he absolutely loved Yosemite, and he was an artist too.
Well, it's a pretty great place.
Yeah, and so we went there. I can remember going in that studio. I don't know, I was real little.
Same location, same place.
I know. Isn't that neat? And your son, does he live in the valley?
No, he lives in the Bay Area, but he has a resident manager.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
But he's up there once a week or every other week. So.
Oh, that's terrific. Do you go up there very often?
Not anymore. I'm not moving around that much anymore, unfortunately. But,
yeah. Well, I guess that's maybe all of us. We can get to share that. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Gee, hello. Hello.
Hi. I had concerns about who was going to be here today, so.
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't give you back, but I was doing tax returns, so.
No, I thought that's probably what, look at your desk. What a busy bee you are.
Well, I've done 2 of them completely, and I have 3 others in the machine.
Wow.
And 3 coming in this week, so.
Very good. How many total clients do you have?
70.
Oh my God.
My heavens.
You're still really in the business.
Thank goodness somebody is.
No, we're so frantic over one.
Well, it keeps me out of trouble most of the time.
I see Amber Henning.
Hi there. Hi there.
Are you here, Amber?
I'm here. Yes, definitely.
Go look at the bottom and turn on your audio, your video.
Yeah, your video is on.
So the issue is that I don't have a camera on my phone.
There you go.
There you do.
Yes, I
yes,
do.
You do.
Hello, everybody.
There you go.
God bless automatic cameras. You don't even know you're being photographed. Well, that's just great. I'm glad you're here. So I never got, hey, there's Jean Mudd.
Hey,
I'm glad that Dave Bragg is here. Is Marcia with you?
Marcia's here too.
Hey, hi, Marcia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, you guys were traveling, I think, last time. Yeah. No, you were we're going to Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Back to Charleston, South Carolina.
John Matthews, great.
Oh, hello.
I almost called you today, and then I thought, he's really going to think I'm nagging, so I'm just not going to do it.
Who's the airplane?
That's Ben Vernaza. He'll be coming on. Hey, hi.
Hey, Rudy.
Hi, Rudy. Oh, who's this? Is this Mike? Mike.
There you go.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Mike. Oh, and this is Marty Trebe. Marty is in Sea Ranch.
Marge, what about Bobby Tratner Bilson? Is she?
Yeah, so, I had a great conversation with her, and she definitely wants on, but she's definitely looking forward to being with us every time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, she's just great. But in the meantime, we got an unexpected Amber
Hi there, everybody.
is here. And hi, Ben.
Hi, how are you?
We're just great. Thank you. Your plane was beautiful and we're always so impressed to see it, but it's good to see you. Where are you? Are you traveling?
I'm on our roof.
Aha. That's traveling.
I have a third floor with a chair to help us get up if we can't get up by walking up.
Okay, I love it. Oh, wow, that did it. That's much better, Marty.
It's the same
Great.
face. though. Oh, no, here it goes again.
Here we go again.
There it goes.
Ooh, isn't that kind of, aren't you jealous that you all don't have that?
It's your very own light show.
We're going to
Sandy?
proceed and we're going to just look at that as additional entertainment. And as I mentioned, Amber, I would love to hear what you've been doing. Just give us sort of a rundown on what you've been doing since you left Stanford.
Oh, boy.
In
That,
5 minutes or less.
5 minutes.
I need a light
Really?
show like the one below. I've had a very wonderful time living that long. Surprising to be living that long, isn't it, guys?
Mhm.
Yes.
After Larry has been dead now for almost 7 years.
Oh.
Before that, we did a lot of traveling around the world with his work that he was doing in France, in Poland, in the Czech Republic, and in Russia. So the world today is with me all the time as I think about the people I've known there and how much different their lives are than ours. And it's very hard to think of them suffering when I have such an easy life. We moved here into the V, where Art Stauffer lives now. We moved in Palo Alto. We moved here almost 18 years ago. It's a good place to be when you're getting old. They say they'll look after me as long as I'm around. That's their problem. And it's not my problem anymore. I'm very involved with Hoover Institution at Stanford. And I redcoat as a part of the athletic department there. So I don't think any of us would have noticed them in the past, but there are people who were walking around in red coats, taking tickets, helping people in the auditorium. My last gig was at men's volleyball 2 nights ago, where we handily beat Pepperdine, but it wasn't easy. These are things that keep me really involved, plus the things that I do here at the V. So I'm not just sitting down, except I am right now. I'm seeing all of you, and it's a pleasure to see you.
Oh, well, thank you. That was perfect. I don't need to edit that at all. You're a professional speaker.
But we're about to have our 90th birthdays, which I'm sure all the rest of you are too, or getting close, and it seems
Who's talking?
impossible.
Uh,
Marcia.
You are. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
wow.
am.
You're doing the 90. My 90's end of the year. So it should
Oh,
be
is it?
beginning for all of us now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Charlie
George Wheaton had his 90th birthday in January, and I get to have mine next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to have a celebration?
Well, I'm trying to get a jazz band to come play here at the Sequoias.
Oh, how neat.
Clint Baker, back in the Stanford days, the Alphadelts had a Dixieland band, and ever since then I've gotten hooked on that music. And a guy named Clint Baker has had a band that used to play at Cafe Baroni, which is a nice cafeteria in Menlo Park, almost every Friday night. So I'm trying to get Clint to come with his band and play here at the Sequoias. Sequoias is a residential senior residence place out in the Portola Valley. Nice place. Yeah.
Can't you recreate the Los Trancos Woods Marching Band? Doesn't anybody remember that playing out at Rosado?
Well, that was in the days when Stanford had a marching band. What do they call it now? It's a googly. I don't know what it is. It's
No, the marching band, the Los Trancos Woods Marching Band was a group of an eclectic group that used to play out at Zot's in the afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, anybody been doing any traveling? Usually I rely on Jean. Where are you, Jean? Yeah, you're the
Well, let's see, since the last time I was chatting with you all, I took a trip that included India, Mumbai, and then we hopped on a ship and did the southern part of India and Sri Lanka, and Phuket, Penang, and ended up in Singapore.
Oh,
Wow.
22 days of enjoyable travel.
that was right around, was it not encompassing the whole end of the year?
10th through the through the 1st of January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow. Was that
Uh,
nice? Would you do that again?
No. Well, not at the end of the year, because the kids actually came out to Los Angeles in January, so we had a nice weekend time with them. But I think, generally speaking, I prefer to spend with my family for Christmas. But I just thought for a change, I'd give them freedom.
Well, I do remember now you're saying that. And that they were not too thrilled with the freedom.
They were not thrilled
giving
with my thought of giving them freedom. No.
Right. Okay, so now you know you shouldn't do that in the future.
We'll work on other times for traveling, but the next time I'm traveling, I guess, is Puerto Rico for my granddaughter's graduation. I'm sorry, my granddaughter's wedding.
great.
Very
And that's
nice.
April 15th.
Oh, wow, that's exciting.
Oh, perfect. File extensions.
For a CPA, it's not good, but it's fine.
Perfect, perfect.
But other than that, not doing too much other than taxes.
Yeah. Well, with 70 clients, you're certainly in the business. Yeah.
I'm busy sometime. For about 2.5 months, I'm really
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. Is anybody else still busily working? I know Jean Mudge, you're still
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, our film, Beating Superbugs, is now in educational distribution with Film Media Group, which is a choice distributor. So we're very happy about that. And we are showing the film locally at Mills College, now Northeastern, and to various smaller groups. I have a personal upcoming trip in April. Years ago, I was the resident curator of the Emily Dickinson House at Amherst College. My husband was teaching there, and the college was persuaded to buy Emily Dickinson's house, which was threatened to be razed. Maybe I've told you all this before. Anyway, you may have heard, because Dickinson has become quite famous now. I used to call her the youngest poet writing today because her whole canon of poetry wasn't published until the 1950s, just as we were graduating. And only a handful of her poems had been known before that. Well, now you may know that Apple TV recently had a series on Dickinson. And of course, in the genre of historical drama, they recreated her house, which when we moved into it in 1965, had no furniture in it whatsoever, because it had been used for a rental property, and the family that had been there left with their own possessions. And there were no Dickinson furniture pieces at all. Well, now Apple TV has donated their sets to the house as a nucleus, not the only things you see there now. But I am in touch with the present administration, and my family, a group of 14 of us, are going back in early April to just see what the place looks like now.
Great.
Wow, that's
Fantastic.
And what is also a lure, and for me, a test of what is happening at Emily's own home, is what is happening at her brother's house, because Austin Dickinson was a lawyer in his own right, a successful lawyer in his own right. And his father, for a wedding present, built a villa next door to the Dickinson mansion, and to keep him in town, actually. That was a lure. And that house, which is having work done on it, nevertheless has its original furniture in it. So I wanted in this next visit, upcoming visit, to compare the two houses, because one is a total recreation and the other is total authentic stuff. Even the dust is quite authentic. I know, because I visited the woman who was living there as the sole Dickinson heir many years ago. Anyway, unfortunately, we won't be able to make that comparison because the Austin Dickinson house is undergoing these major plumbing and structural repairs, and it's dangerous to go in it now, right now. But I'd say all this to anybody interested in all this kind of thing, because visiting later this year, or certainly by next year, both houses will be open. And
Wow.
so,
And you're
Now,
going to
will
be
this be a subject of a documentary in any form?
I did make a documentary about Dickinson, and Julie Harris was our narrator. It was called The Belle of Amherst. I mean, sorry, what led me to invite her to be our narrator was her performance on Broadway and elsewhere in a play entitled The Belle of Amherst. Our film was called A Certain Slant of Light, because that's the beginning line of a Dickinson poem. That film is still being shown and used in classrooms, I'm happy to say.
Is there any way we can see that? Is it like on YouTube or something?
It may be on YouTube. I actually haven't checked. It's being distributed. I can, if people want it.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
how these things are done for school systems?
Yeah.
They buy a CD or something, and then it's broadcast to the whole region of a school system. And that's the way, because it's old now, but it's a golden oldie because Julie Harris did a superb job.
Yeah. A Certain Slant of Light.
Yes, the full title is her name, Emily Dickinson, A Certain Slant of Light. And I can send you, an email address to my distributor, and
Well, either that or I'm just going to try YouTube.
okay, yeah,
I mean, there's so much stuff on there.
I know.
Gosh, which is great if you just want to watch something and catch up on something. Yeah.
Well, the other virtue is that it's only half an hour, because I started making these films for classroom use. And any good teacher wants to discuss either a book or a film that you're using. And so that's why it's 30 minutes.
Yeah, perfect. Well, when I did my my brief little blurb for my father's website that we've created for his stained glass windows, and I was asked to do a short movie, and my webmaster, she said, you need to keep it under 3 minutes. In fact, you need to keep it to exactly 2.9, because that is precisely the attention span of the majority of viewers today. If that isn't a sad commentary.
Yes, it is.
But if you think of it for yourself, every advertisement you see, nothing is or any of the short things you see, it's all trimmed to that 3-minute thing. And when I did create that, I realized there's an amazing amount of things that you can say in 3 minutes.
Marge, would you advise the NFL of that for Super Bowl halftime?
They like to blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Jane. Art,
Yeah,
you're in a brand new background.
yeah, we moved in November. We finally sold our house, which was nice. And we're enjoying this new retirement home, the V. It's a very nice people, about 450 people. The nice part about it is now you walk down the halls and we are definitely in the middle class. Older and younger, whereas where we were before, they considered us rather old. So
So you're in the middle age group?
yeah, we're in the middle age
I
group,
love it.
and I think it's 65% women and 35% men.
Oh,
So-
you guys, you love that.
Sounds about right.
Mhm.
It's amazing the people that are here, just what they've been able to accomplish. Just all kinds of interesting people. So that's something that is very nice. It's a little harder to come out of a 3,500 square foot house and a car garage into 3 little rooms. So little doing. We're ensconced now. We have a balcony on the 4th floor.
No, but that should be nice. You have a nice overview from there.
Yeah,
Do you look out to the greenery and back or to the shopping center section?
we look out to the hospital and the helicopter coming in with kidneys and all
Oh.
kinds of things. Day and
Great.
night. From
Oh
the
my
very
gosh.
start in the morning till night, they come in about every 10 or 15 minutes, fly in and land on the roof and take off and go back and get another part or something.
Well, think how close you are to the supply line.
Yeah, right.
The only other better thing is to get in the helicopter, I guess. It's yeah, it's pretty close to Stanford. So
Yeah, very well. It's close to a lot of things.
yeah, there are a great number of people from Stanford in this place where we are. So very interesting. One woman came in the other day and she's been teaching 37 years in biology at Stanford. And he asked her what what her specialty was. And she said Alzheimer's. And yeah, it's very interesting though. She said they now can identify people that will get Alzheimer's when they're in the womb.
Oh my gosh.
And so we said, can you fix it at that point? And she said, no, but we can on ants. So how you operate on an ant, I don't know. So
Carefully.
How do you spell ant?
Well, I was going to say, there may be some ants in this crowd right now.
That's right. The hell with the uncles.
Yeah, right.
Amber, both you and Art, I'm sure can share, and John at the Sequoias too, of all the interesting things you can participate in if you're so inclined.
That's right.
Amber and I had dinner the other night with my wife, and very nice seeing her again.
And I've got Peggy back singing, which is good too.
That's wonderful.
Well, I'm impressed with all the interesting programs that they offer here, educational and musical and sing-alongs, and it's just a fun environment. And the food is good, and there's lots of interesting people here. So
Yeah,
it makes having meals with these interesting people a lot of fun. It's very
Very nice. John, is there like a central dining hall that you go to?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've noticed when I used to walk out there that they were building like the newest building. Was that a memory care facility?
There's a memory care facility. There's a well, there's a skilled nursing, and that's where my wife was until she passed away.
Yeah.
And there's also a, what's that middle level?
Assisted living.
Assisted
yeah,
living, assisted
assisted,
living.
okay.
So they have independent living. So there's all 4 levels of that kind of support. And the good thing about it is, as somebody already mentioned, you get to go to either one of those, you know, till the rest of your life, and they take care of you. That's good news. That's the good news.
Whether you
That's
want
great.
or not.
That's great.
Marge, I have a question related to this conversation. And that is, how many of us have friends who are either 100 or approaching 100?
Ah,
It seems, I'm serious, it seems to me that that's happening more and more, so that centenarians are not unusual among us. And maybe we should all be planning to live that long, should we be able to with all our facilities. I really emphasize the latter. We don't want to be a vegetable, but the 2 people I know, one is approaching 102, and he's got all of his marbles. He really, I visit him maybe once a month. He's living in his own home with a caretaker. He loves it that way. Fortunately, he has a lot of family near him, so that it's kind of like living in a community. They're all geared, of course, to help him. But I just wondered how common among all of us it is to have people over or approaching 100.
Well, here at the V, the last time they counted, there were 11
Yeah,
over 100. And so it's very interesting to see how people can keep on participating in life, not just living, but participating.
Right.
yeah.
I don't know what the count is in sequoias, but there are some. But I do remember that my uncle, that's my father's brother, was 99 years old. He was a farmer in Iowa. And I remember going back to interview him when he was 99, and he could tell you what happened in the Depression or what happened till yesterday. I mean, he was an amazing guy.
Mhm.
So maybe there's hope. Who knows?
Well, with the mental acuity that this group shows, how many of you are writing your memoirs?
oh,
Oh, well, you know, I've got to mention this. My family has asked me to give a verbal account of my life. And so a granddaughter is doing videos, and she's pitching questions to me. And I am finding that it is it's wonderful for me in developing this relationship with my granddaughter. I mean, you know, I didn't realize that there would be this secondary boon to the project, but it's just lovely. I'm learning all about her at the same time. So if anybody wants to start something like this, I can tell you it's a 2-way street and it's great fun.
well, I do know that my kids had this last year having me write stories every Monday morning on the computer to answer questions that whatever the story thing said. And it was really fun because it brought up a whole lot of different times and areas and stories that I wrote that the kids have never heard. And they got to read them as I went along. So they did say they could put it in a book if I wanted to. So I don't know.
There's a lady at our church who's had 6 children, but one of them made a video of this lady who describing herself and the things that she did during her life, and it was used at her memorial service, which I thought was a fantastic way to present yourself at a memorial service.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
You know, excuse me, I just noticed Chris Egan.
Yes,
Chris, I think this is your first time on, is it not?
yes, it is.
Well, welcome.
Thank
And
you.
what we always do when people are on for the first time is to ask if you'd like to share with us what you've been doing since you left Stanford in 5 minutes or less. So Amber was on for the first time this time. And she did that earlier. I wonder, would you like to give us just a brief?
Sure.
Okay.
I went to Stanford and I met a young man named Ray Egan, who was a double E and studying ionospheric physics at the time, and then later did other things. The net result was I thought he was terrific, and we got married, and we're married for 65 years. He tended to always have a research somewhere else. In the beginning, I could go, but then we never really figured out contraception. So we had 3 children in 3 years, and then we had a 4th child 10 years later. And since at one point his company called and said, "Oh, by the way, how did it feel to have your husband gone 5 months this year?" Well, with 4 children, that kind of occupied a lot of my time. I was a master gardener. I thought I'd go back to school and study landscape architecture, and tried, but I didn't want to go to Cal. How could anybody go to Cal? So the only possibility would have been to go to Pomona, and the commute was a little long. So I never quite got that off the ground, but I did do some garden designs. And I then found that, oh, and we used to laugh, Carol Kleinstuber and Ann Garner. Carol used to say, "You went to the other Stanford," because the only name I even know of you guys is Ambrose Henninger. And so I must have been at a different Stanford, don't you think? Or maybe the engineering group is a little different. So that's about it. I was supposed to not get married. I was supposed to come home and run a store. Given that thought, marriage looked awfully good. So that's what happened.
Great.
Very nice. And where do you live now, Chris?
I just this year, well, we kept our house in Los Altos Hills until this April 15th closed, which was a good time because the prices hadn't started to fall. And now I live in Carlsbad because my youngest daughter, Carol, married a young man who wouldn't leave the ocean. And they have 4 daughters who are, 3 of them are married. And I think they got married to have babies because I have 2 great grandchildren and by those girls, and 1 will arrive in June. And of course I have to brag about them. Little Mason is 10 months old, and he really doesn't say mama or dada. He said, "I did it." And that's his only sentence. You know, he does something, he says, "I did it." And Parker, who's a little girl, is more discerning and has about 11 words, except only 10 are English. The 11th one she uses all the time, but we don't know what she's saying. We don't understand baby. So a lot of my time is spent being so delighted that I made the choice to move to La Costa Glen and be near these families, who, by the way, did not go to Stanford. Who is? My number 2 daughter went to Cal, and her sister was at Stanford at the time and was doing helping in the training room when the band ran on the field. Didn't you know that was the year that her sister entered Cal?
Oh my gosh.
So we didn't even mention the word big game for about 20 years. I mean, no, because they saw it very differently.
Yes, I'm sure. Oh,
No, I
that's,
bored you with the fact that I didn't really travel a lot. I did go on a few trips, but he mostly went alone. And if you've gone with someone who's going to spend all his time in antennas, maybe traveling isn't quite the same as for others.
wonderful. I thank you. Thank you very much. Rudy, have you been
Yeah.
doing any traveling?
I see. I think last time I reported our trip to Spain, went to Portugal, and then supposed to take a boat over to Seville, but the boat had its problems, and so we ended up taking the bus over to Seville and spent time there, and then along the coast down to Barcelona, and then from Barcelona we headed back to the States.
So you're staying home for a while?
And we are, yes.
Ben Vernaza,
Sure.
are you flying your plane or you're just hanging around home?
No, we're doing both, fortunately.
Where are you flying to?
Well, I do a lot of practicing to keep my skills up, but I've cut back. For instance, I don't fly at night anymore. I've changed, but I still enjoy flying. I did take a trip, a business trip back to Chicago, but I stopped in Denver and left a plane there and took an overnight train to Chicago for a couple of meetings at the beginning of the week. And then I took the train back, a night train. That was sort of fun, and had a meeting on the Friday. And I was originally going to fly back. This was last spring, originally going to fly back on Saturday, but the weather was really bad. So I came back United. And then a week later, I went back and got the airplane. But that's just being careful. I think as you get older, anything you do, you got to be careful. Like, for instance, all of us should count steps in our house and other people's house if we're going to stay there, because that is one of the accidents that I've had many friends they had an accident. They fell down a stair because there was one more stair left. So the things we have to do to change our lives.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to bring up, and Jean may be interested in this if she doesn't already know about it. There is an organization, it's a nonprofit organization called Truth in Accounting. And basically it came about because the auditing rules for auditors, audit public governments is very lax. It really doesn't tell the story. So anyway, this is changing in our profession, and this organization has helped it. What I would like to do is to send out to you, Marge, or to everybody on our list, if that's okay with everybody, a link. It's actually, you could find it anyway. I don't have to send it out, but it's called, everybody else that's not here can see it. It's called truthinaccounting.org. And it just came out last week with rating of cities of, I think, 50 cities in the United States. They're all large cities, we're like San Jose, San Francisco locally and so forth. But it's very interesting. Some of them are really in debt, and that's never really been brought to the attention of the residents of their either county or city or. So this is something we have to know in this day and age. So if that's okay, I'll send it out or send it to you, Mark.
No. Send it. You've got the roster. Send it to everybody.
There she goes.
Okay, Jean,
Yeah,
maybe
that's great.
maybe Jean and I could talk about it
Yeah,
at one of the next meetings too.
that would be great.
What do you think, Jean?
I will be happy to try and take a look and see what I think.
Okay.
And be happy to give you my take on it, but I don't do any auditing anymore. I just do taxes.
Well, there's another new law which affects all CPAs, regardless of what they're doing in this day and age, even if they're even financial planners. It's called no-clear. It's non-compliance with laws and regulations. That's where the no-clear comes from. And it becomes somewhat of an obligation for a CPA who's involved in anything, including tax preparation,
Right.
preparation of financial statements and so forth. It's a real changer. So anyway, that's another thing that I could send out. My partner actually wrote a one pager with some links to how it affects CPAs in particular that are doing financial planning. So
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that sounds great. That would be terrific. Thanks, Ben. Very, very nice.
thank you.
Well, I do know that I always said that you needed to be an auditor, at least some, in order to do a good tax return. So,
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Hey, Ann Gardner.
Yeah.
What's up with you? Haven't heard from you in a while.
Well, a couple of things that crossed my mind as others were talking. I have one cousin who was 101,
Wow.
Wow.
but she needs 24-hour care.
Yeah.
And so that's difficult. Now, of the centenarians at the V and the Sequoias, does anybody know how many of them are in independent living?
Here,
Or
here
what proportion is in independent living?
at the V, and I think that about 2/3 of them are in independent living still. But every year they come out with a statement about how many are over 100 and where they live.
Yeah,
Wow.
okay.
That's really neat.
I can't tell you the number that, but they do come, several of them do come to the dining room still. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Boy, that's kind of nice. That's something to look forward to if you can still do those things and participate. Yeah.
I am going to have to pass on the next trip I would really like to do, which is going to be to Portugal in April for a conference that I've been very involved with for many years. But I think I've reached the point where traveling by myself is just too difficult.
Yes.
And is anybody else feeling that way at this point?
Definitely. Yeah. Our children insist on going with us and they call themselves our handlers.
That's exactly the way they treat you, isn't it?
Yeah, and we absolutely love it. So
Unfortunately, I don't have children. So.
yes, we're very fortunate. Yes.
Yeah.
So Mike, can I pop up to you? I had a nice conversation before everybody all got on, but we haven't seen you for a long time. So tell us a little bit about your life. What's going on?
Oh, well, my ambulation is compromised, let's put it that way. And since COVID, I haven't really done much in the way of travel.
Yeah.
My wife bought an RV, so it's handy to have a potty in the vehicle with you when you travel, but I still like hotels.
Yeah.
But pretty much staying here in California. And
as I recall, you're living, it's Monterey, right?
it's Carmel. Yeah.
Carmel, yes. Okay. And you don't, I know that you work with your dad's publishing things, but there's no sort of a retail operation or museum or anything?
We have a business in Yosemite.
Yes.
Called the Ansel Adams Gallery, and that's still in the family. But I will mention something. The Boston's Museum of Fine Arts has an exhibit coming to, San Francisco in April.
Yes.
With a lot of Ansel's work, and that'll probably be announced. It'll be in San Francisco for about 4 months.
It sounds like it, a wonderful opportunity to see a great gathering of his work.
I think it'll be the first real show of his work in San Francisco since 2001. So,
wow,
it's still pretty popular.
Still consider him the ultimate guru for Yosemite. Yeah. Which was a huge part of my life and yours too, of course.
Yes, in our family, we have a great group of admirers, and we've often given birthday or anniversary gifts of photographs.
Yes, beautiful stuff.
It's amazing how popular he remains.
He
We're
is
pleased.
just beautiful work.
And actually,
Yep.
today was his birthday,
Oh, my gosh.
February 20th.
Happy birthday, Ansel. Okay,
Happy-
Mary Carol,
Yes.
you're my buddy and I never give you a chance to talk. So what's going on in your life?
Well, I have a third leg now, and I'm waiting for a replacement. Unfortunately, when John and I came back from Hawaii, our doctors were either retired or dead. So we had to start from scratch. We decided we go with Kaiser. What? We're just tired of waiting. So we're still moving around. I've got, as I say, I've got my third leg. It's really a walker. And I never felt I'd ever be that way again. But, after sailing for so many years, maybe it's time to stop a few of those things.
I am confused. What do you mean you've got your third leg?
Or
No,
walker.
I'm having, my third leg is the walker.
Oh,
I'm going to
oh.
have a hip replacement eventually.
Mary Carol, join the group for heaven's sake.
I know, but it's not like us,
I
John and I
know.
were such active sailors
I
and we were
know. I know.
travelers on our own.
But it's okay.
Yes.
I've now gotten to the point where I throw the walker and the stick. I've got hiking sticks. And I really prefer using one of those or two if I have to, or if I'm really unsure, I'll take the walker out. And Terry and I went to a party last weekend. We didn't have any idea what the terrain was like. And sure enough, it was outdoors with a wooden patio thing and several steps and lawn and kind of a steep driveway. And it's like, I'm getting the walker out. I don't care how stupid I look, And it worked out just fine. And you just use it to get to where you want to go. And then you can fold it up and put it off to the side.
Well, I've succumbed, Marge. I say that I'm in the majority now.
Oh,
there are more walkers here at Regent's Point than any other motivation. And actually, people aren't coming in any. We came in when we were not that young, but they're younger now. We're just celebrating early 70s birthdays and everything. I mean, it happens.
Well, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Adams, I've got to ask you, you said you have mobility issues. Do you mean that same kind of mobility issues? That
Right.
you're just saying?
It's
Yeah.
a little more difficult to get around. And
Yes.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
DeYoung in San Francisco is going to have the exhibit starting in April.
Oh,
So it'll be at the
of
DeYoung.
Ansel.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's fabulous. Marcia, we never got to hear from you. What's going on in your life?
Well, we also live in the V in Scottsdale, a beautiful, beautiful facility. And I am very happy to turn over the cooking. But I have to tell a Walker story. I tell any of our friends who are coming to visit, don't come at 5, because that's when everybody with a walker is downstairs picking up their dinners or going to the restaurant or getting their mail, and it really is not a very attractive scene if you're a casual teenager or something. So, but we're fine. We went Thanksgiving. We went back to Charleston where our son lives, and that probably, except for a funeral we're going to this coming weekend, is going to be the end of our traveling. Having traveled all over the world, we're very happy to stay here. And the Charleston trip was at Thanksgiving. You can imagine the crowds, and it was just shoulder to shoulder getting from one end of the airport to the other. But we made it and had an awfully good time. But we're very happy right here, and I agree with whoever said there are young people here. There certainly are. Our best friends are probably 10 to 15 years younger than me.
Yes.
And it's wonderful, and people who have done incredibly wonderful things in their lives, and they're so friendly, and it's been I think even Dave is happy now.
It was an adjustment leaving the golf course.
Yes, but
Mhm.
we're doing just fine, and it's fun to hear about all the people that we've heard of the V in Palo Alto for 1,000 years, and it's fun to hear about what's going on there too.
We met lots of very, as Marcia said, very interesting new friends.
Mike and Marty Trebe, tell us what you've been doing.
Well, a little bit of traveling, but not very far. We do have some plans, so I'm going to go see the Marcia Bragg, and her husband David, this coming Friday. We're going to have lunch together, I think, at a place that they decided. Wherever Marcia makes the lunch, I'll come there. So we just got finished going to Chuck Stockholm's 90th birthday, which both Mike Arnstein and Dave sent nice little letters bashing him. But he looked great. He had a little party of about 20 people, some fraternity brothers and some Citibank execs that he worked with. And it was really kind of a nice affair at the club in San Francisco, a fancy club. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, Pacific something club. Anyway, it was a great affair. So I'm going to see Mike Arnstein in April when I go down to visit my daughter and her family in Coronado. And we are going to Seattle to see my wife's aunt, who's 99 years old up there. She doesn't know she's 99, but she is. So she didn't know she was 90, but she's still living at 99. Then the travel plans are taking my remaining two daughters and their husbands on a tulip trip in Holland. We're going to go
That's a good thing.
on a boat on the canals and stuff, and come back for 6 weeks. Then we go on a Baltic Sea trip. So we're still doing a lot of traveling, and I think I'll survive. I don't know. I'm using those walking sticks because the balance is a little bit of a problem. But with two of them, I can really motivate really well. I get going pretty fast, especially up hills. So I'm pretty active. My wife's taking up pickleball, but I'm too. I think my hand-eye coordination is not good enough for that. Anyway, I always want to slam the ball, and I'm not supposed to do that. So I let her play pickleball, and I just read and do Zooming bridge games with bots. Don't play bridge with a bot because they just don't know how to play it. I'll tell you that. But we play a lot of bridge with Jack Lauderbaugh, who you may know. He was a couple years ahead of us, who's now living in Seattle, has been for years. And they moved to a facility, I can't remember the name of it, but he's very active and super bridge player, gives us all sorts of pointers. But we play a lot of bridge, a lot of Zoom bridge, not too much bridge with friends around here. The community in the Sea Ranch is a very isolated community, but beautiful. We have great hiking along the bluff up in the redwoods. Anyway, we're enjoying ourselves over here.
This is Mike. Mike, we're going to let you talk. So I'm going to put the volume up as high as I can. And okay, so go ahead and talk.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my computer thing because I can't get it to unmute. So anyway, let me do my best. Here I go. I had a nice Zoom meeting 3 or 4 days ago with the class notes people, and it really worked great. I could talk and listen and everything, but I couldn't get the picture to work. Now I got the picture to work and I can't talk. It's amazing. I'll get this figured out. Give me a couple more turns. Anyway, I did talk to Peter Bing about 10 days ago, I guess it was. And he's terrific. He helped me find Bob Gable. You remember Bob Gable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a guy that ran for governor of Kentucky and didn't have to serve. He said. He also ran for senator of Kentucky, and he didn't have to serve then either. Anyway, Peter and I had a long talk, and he sounded terrific. He kind of wants to stay anonymous, but he certainly sounded okay, and was pleased to help me. Bondi, I have a new friend, Jean Bashur Toll. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her right. And she is a kick. And she was one of the Chaparral staff. And she's connected me with all the Chaparral people. And so now I've had a talk with the guy who's called the Old Boy. He's the head of the Chaparral. He told me how to get the current magazine. So if you're interested in the Chaparral, which is really nicely done, by the way, little subtle humor, some of it fairly timely, so it'll be over our head, but it's still cute. And I also talked to Vince Ross. I don't know if you remember him, but he is a very celebrated person in Fallbrook, and he just got honored again. He was honored a couple of years ago as the head pioneer, and now he's the head of the Arts Center donators. So he's really quite a guy, and I'll write about him a little bit. I'm finding we have some delightful and wonderful classmates, as you all know, and you are among them, but there's still a lot of undiscovered ones. And if you can help me connect with any of them, I sure be grateful.
I thank you, Micah. I'm gonna turn off the phone so we don't get the double thing, and we're gonna wrap it up. Is there any last thing that you want to say before I turn you off? We are going to have another reunion, because when we reach this age, we definitely don't want to wait for 5 years. We all know the obvious implications of that. So we don't know what the format's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be similar to last year, which turned out to be pretty successful. The events that are appealing to all of us are the dinner on the quad, which is lovely, the classes without quizzes, which is wonderful. Now, Terry and I have suggested that they definitely put the president's talk, I think it's usually on a Saturday morning, that they put that on video so that it can live, so that we can we could stay at our hotels and hear it and be able to communicate, talk about it later, but not have to go with the crowds and fight our way into Memod. For those who don't want to go to the game, Terry and I will have another game watching party at our house, and that was very successful last year. Cardinal Group will have their, what do they call it, Terry? Happy hour, or it's a party. And it was terrific last year. I think you all saw the video that I made. Yeah, so it's going to be a repeat. And any of you that are inclined to think about traveling, put it on your list. I don't think there's a date for sure yet, but by next time we'll have it. It'll be in May. Probably the second or third week. I'll pick out a day. I'll put it in writing. I'll pick a date and put it in writing. So
Marge, this is Rudy. I just wanted to say I've got to sign off, and enjoyed talking to everybody, and we'll see you in May.
Thanks so much, Rudy. Really nice to have you with us.
Bye, Rudy.
Thank you to everybody. Bye. It was great seeing you. I'm going to say goodbye for now, but I will stay on. If you want to chat with one or another, you can do that. I won't close it off until the last one's gone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
And go Stanford.
Yeah. Go
and if you send me it to Jlay, Jlaye CPA, you can at AOL.com. You know, we can talk on email.
Okay, great, Jean. Great. Okay. Look forward to it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Marge.
Bye.
Mahalo nui loa.